Good morning. Hey, it's today's Antidote, and it's a half hour early, and this is so much better for me personally. I think it's better for Tom too. He's perky. But let me get to the business at hand. This is that time where we are going to solve all the world's problems in 15 short minutes, and all you have to do is listen. That's what you're probably expecting. That's what you hear all the time. That is not what we do here. We are renegades. Oh my goodness, we are renegades in so many ways. But one of the ways that Tom over there and I are renegades is we actually believe that it's incremental progress, not a huge leap forward. We're not going to solve all your problems right now. It's just not going to happen. What we'd like to do is get you thinking about those things that you need to focus on. Maybe that one thing that you can do today to improve your situation, whatever your problem is, whatever your question is. So this could be a really big work issue, a really small one. It doesn't matter. And today we're going to start off with the discussion for the week about self-doubt. And let me tell you, Tom, I didn't have to do much prepping on this one. I could rock this subject. I've spent years living it. I've studied it very closely, and it's just at times all-consuming.
So you're confident that you understand self-doubt. What you're telling me?
I'm telling you that, except now I'm questioning that confidence. And that's what I think is really interesting for me about self-doubt. I think most people that know me would say I come across as very confident. What they do not see is the inner workings. Inside the little machine that is what I have of a brain, self-doubt controls me, literally. I wasn't going to say that out loud, but I did. How about you? Where are you on self-doubt?
I think that it controls everyone. I think there's a little bit of self-doubt in everyone. You know, I would think even if you took the highest CEO, Elon Musk, let's take this. We talked about SpaceX. Yep. What do you think he was thinking, especially on whatever the first day was, Wednesday, when they had to scrap it for that day? Do you think he was like, oh man, what if the weather's not good again and we can't get the right day? And then as they were doing the countdown, he was probably thinking about, and maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was so confident in what was going on that he wasn't there. But I have a feeling that there was a little bit inside of him that was like, what happens if when that first part separates, the next one doesn't fire? Or, you know, if you're Tiger Woods standing over the drive on the 18th hole to try to win the Masters, you're not telling me that there's just a little bit of, man, if I'm a little too quick, I'm going to mess this up and I'm going to hit it right. And now I'm in the woods. What am I going to do now? And so I think that it lives inside of all of us. It's how do we figure out how to manage it? I think that becomes how we move it forward. And we'll talk about that later this week. So I just think that we all deal with a little bit of self-doubt at times.
Well, it's funny, as you were talking about that, I was thinking about when I go and play golf. So if I go to the driving range, I can hit the ball a mile. It's straight, it's true. When I get out on the golf course and there are 3 other people watching me, that's a different animal. And I wonder if self-doubt is tied to what others think of us, and that the internal mechanics is very little. You know, like you write something. I write all the time. And I say, it's great when I'm writing, oh, this looks really good. When I send it to you, that's when the self-doubt creeps in. Oh, is this what Tom was looking for? Was it the right length? Was it the right words? Was it the right tone? I don't have that internally when I'm working by myself. It's when I get involved with it being shown to someone or experienced by other people. That's when the self-doubt crops up.
Well, I think we know we're going to be judged or evaluated. Even if it's not judged in a negative way, it's what is this person going to think based on whatever I've put out there? What are people going to think if you're standing on the first tee and you dribble one off the tee? They're going to be like, wow, this is going to be a long 18 holes with this thing. Right? And so you're worried about what others are going to think. I think a lot of times is what drives us to be concerned about self-doubt.
And I think it starts probably when we're children. which is interesting to me. I don't have children, so I can't take blame, but I think our parents and our teachers started instilling self-doubt in us at a very early age, not intentionally so, but by the do this, don't do that, be here, not here. I can remember, this is really deeply personal. I got dressed in blue when I was a kid. I was maybe 3-4 years old. I haven't even thought of this in years. All blue. And my father said, you didn't really match very well. They're all the same color.
Maybe you match perfectly.
Exactly. But there's where the self-doubt starts. Right then and there. It's like, whoa, I thought this looked really good. It's all blue. And it was all the same color. But he imposed in it there should be shades of blue or whatever. I have no idea. Didn't ask the question. I just remember crying and going back to my room and changing shirts. And I wonder if you have an experience like that somewhere along the way where you go, hey, that was the first time I really experienced self-doubt.
Yeah, I don't know that I could remember. I mean, I'm sure there is. I don't know that I don't have one that jumps out at me. But I think anytime we're exposed to others or we put ourselves out there, there's the difference between what do we believe and what does somebody else believe. And we're all human. So we're all going to have very different beliefs. I might say, hey, that blue with blue looks great. You got the perfect color. Somebody else is going to look at it differently, and I think that all goes back to, and I'm sure we've talked about this, is what is their perspective on what looks good? What's a good shot? What's an enjoyable round of golf? And so for everybody, our experiences are different and our perspectives are different and our desires are different. And so, it would be interesting if you put somebody that never interacted with anybody else who have stuff up. Or would they just, this is what it is. This is the way I've always done it, and I don't know any different. So I'm able to move forward and feel like I've got it going. I know what I'm doing.
It's also interesting to me that this is probably the biggest area of coaching that I find, often masked by bad employees. Oh, my business plan isn't working. I don't have a plan. The economy's not right for this. The excuses galore. And you probably experienced this too with your clients. The whole idea that, there are all these external forces to blame, but when you really get down to it, it's inside their head that's stopping things from going. And one of the big ones, just thinking through right now, that really gets people is it's not ready yet, or it's not perfect yet. I don't want to release this to the world until it's perfect, which is not really about it being perfect. It's about eliminating self-doubt at every step.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that that's the big challenge is how do we eliminate that concern and worry about this is what somebody else is going to think. And I think it's especially bad if you want people to, we all want to be liked. We all want people to say, oh yeah, that was great. Oh yeah, this version of today's Antidote was awesome. We feed off of that almost success and we get confidence. And when we have confidence, we feel a lot less worried about what we put out until we stub our toe. And then we're like, oh man, I don't know. Is this really what I should be doing? How am I, and I think that's the thing about coaching. You were talking about that earlier, is a lot of times coaching is not about telling somebody what to do. It's about asking them the question to figure out what is it that's holding them back. And I think that's what's so hard for people is they don't have that confidence. They have those little thoughts in their head that are saying, holding them back. And also you just ask the question, why? As you know, I ask you that question all the time. Why?
Right.
I just start with that. And when you have to stop and think about it, you're like, yeah, I don't know. So when my coach would ask me that, I knew it was coming and I almost led myself into it all the time. I would be struggling with something and, all she would have to do is ask 2 or 3 why questions. And before I know it, I was blushing and frustrated and feeling stupid that as somebody who knows this, I should be able to move beyond it. But we only know what we know. And I think sometimes we beat ourselves up for what we don't know why should we know that?
I'm going to describe, because I think for some people it's still a question of what self-doubt is. The way I think of self-doubt right now, the analogy I would give is you're doing something outside that you really are enjoying, but you see storm clouds coming over. And you have that decision between, should I do it, keep doing it, or should we take cover because there are storm clouds coming over? And, sometimes the clouds break up, sometimes they go round, sometimes you get wet. And the problem is you don't know which one it's going to be. But most of the time, when we're doing that thing we enjoy, we assume those storm clouds are going to mean a really bad storm coming over us. So rather than get wet, rather than deal with thunder and lightning, we just cancel everything. Even the threat of rain often, 500 miles away, and the weather forecast says it might rain at 3:00. Well, we'll cancel the outdoor party. It's 9 a.m. and you cancel the party because, wow, what if it rains? And I think that's where self-doubt creeps in. It's the perceived negative, not the actual negative, that causes us to act in a way that's inconsistent with what we're trying to achieve. Does that make sense, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I would, as you were saying that, I was thinking about defining it as the fear of uncertainty. Is that we just don't know. That, there's that fear of, if I do this, what's going to happen? If the storm comes in, what's going to happen? And we spend so much time stuck in that fear of what to do. Here's an example that I've seen lately. Be prepared. Chrissy, who's the person, says be prepared with tents, right? So if you have
says a person who plans events.
I know. So if you have a tent, your uncertainty is less. You have already figured out what are the things that could go wrong, provided an option for that, and now you can move forward. And I think that's the key to it is, being prepared with what might happen and being able and comfortable to adjust with it as it moves forward. So I just think it's that fear of uncertainty. What are the results going to be? And we always want them to go well, because I think we feel that if something doesn't go perfect, it's a negative, rather than just, okay, I learned from it. I won't make, hopefully, that mistake again. If I send an email out and I've got 6 typos, I'll be like, darn it, I need to look at that closer. Not like, oh my God, I can't send another email ever again because it's going to get all messed up and it's going to, everything's going to be horrible. And what am I going to do? Because I need to communicate with people. And then you just start the endless questions in your head. And it's funny, I've been talking with a lot of nonprofits about that. Here's where they have some self-doubt. Mostly it's the fear of uncertainty. They have all these events coming up in the future, and they have no idea whether we're going to be able to meet in large groups. Are people going to want to attend? And so all these questions run through their head, and so they don't take action. Well, in reality, we don't know what's going to happen. And so stop spending so much time worrying about this. Say, okay, this is when we're going to decide, because this is when we're going to need to have all the information, and then we can move forward. And I think it's the same with each of us, is that we don't know the end result until you put it out there. And so, or you do it, or you take action, or whatever it is. And so I think finding the comfort in taking action and not, you're worried about the results, but you also know the results are just going to provide you with further information to move forward.
Tom, can you put Tim's comment up, because it's a keeper? This one. Smoke signals have fewer typos, but reach fewer people. I love that. I wish I'd known that 20 years ago. I would have used that in every college class I ever taught. When the student said, so it had 3 typos, big deal. Chrissy's posting, although we had a relay last year and there was a major thunderstorm with lightning and everyone ran under the tent, we tried getting everyone inside or in their cars. Great learning experience, and thankfully no one was hurt. Some sun came out 20 minutes later and it was a great event. Wow, thank you for taking my analogy, Chrissy, and really turning it into something beautiful. That's great. And Tim says, I think in response to his nice comment, it's what I'm here for. Yes, if Tim were my shadow all day, I would not have self-doubt because he manages to make things work out every time. So well, Tom, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think what Chrissy brings forward is they learned that, along the way, we've planned for what went wrong. And I think that's a way to help eliminate, well, we'll talk about eliminating self-doubt later. But I think that's one of the challenges is that if we haven't thought through all of what might happen, it's pretty easy to question what's going to happen.
Or if we, indirect, can't find my word, if we find more things that could go wrong than could go wrong, right? So you have rain, thunder, lightning. That's really all you can have mess you up. Probably not going to have an earthquake. You're probably not going to have famine. You're not going to have all those other things. And I think sometimes we make it more than it needs to be when it might be three things. Well, Tom, let's move to my favorite part of the program, and that is, what's that one thing we can do wrapped around self-doubt to make the world a better place for ourselves today? The small solution to a big problem.
My small solution is kind of what we've tried to do today is identify it. Because I think when we identify things, we have an opportunity to better understand them. And then we can try to figure it out. And so I think the understanding that self-doubt is there and what it is and kind of a little bit of why it's there can help you move forward.
I'm going to challenge people with an exercise one of my coaches gave me, which was to write down every single thought you had around self-doubt for a day.
How many pieces of paper do I need to have? I don't know that.
I have a notebook here. You can see this book. It's 5.5 by 8, I think. I filled 6 sheets, 2 columns each in one day. I spent more time writing about that than anything else, but it was fascinating because at the end of that day, many of them were the same, but with different stimuli. Right. And so I would challenge people to write all of that down because you'll start to see a pattern. And that's the first way to start to deal with it, is to see what it really is, because everyone here knows what self-doubt is, but they haven't tied it to actual things. And so writing all those things down, even if you did it for just 2 hours, I bet you see a pattern to go, oh, wow. Every time I get off the phone with someone, I have self-doubt about what I just said. Every time I check my email, I have self-doubt about whether I did all the emails I was supposed to do Friday afternoon. It's a powerful way to really start to see it. And it'll set you up for what we're going to do with the rest of the week, because I think this is incremental, like everything we do.
Okay.
So, Tom, I like this time better, so much better. How about you?
We'll see how that goes continuing forward, but I agree.
Yeah, I like earlier is better. It gives me an extra half hour to process what we've accomplished. So with that, everyone, it's been today's Antidote. You, of course, know by now, because we say it every day, or I say it every day, you can join our Ring of Renegades, the Facebook group, where we're sharing information and knowledge and expertise about all these types of things. There's a great group of people, the Ring, these renegades, and they are really bringing things forward. And I tell you, Tom, in the last couple of days, there's been all kinds of networking through that group, which is really great. And then if you want to get really crazy, not crazy, but if you want to take it to the next level, join our Renegade Wayfinders, and that group at renegadewayfinders.com is going to take the kinds of things we're learning in the Ring of Renegades and really be focused on specific actions, really taking it to the next level, really overcoming those challenges to really accomplish the things that people set out to do, not just talking about it, but actually making it happen. And that group is growing. So we have Ring of Renegades, which is free and open to anyone, and then Renegade Wayfinders for the people who really want to kick it up to the next level. And Tom, like we keep saying, both of these groups are groups that we've built because they're what we wish we had 5, 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago maybe. And so we're building something that's going to help people where we saw our success was delayed. Phew, that was a lot of talk.
I was enjoying all of that.
That's because
You were
you
doing
didn't
it,
have
not me.
That's what I was going to say. See, now there's my self-doubt, right? I get done that and I say that's a lot of talk. That's me self-doubting.
Absolutely.
Great example. That's so glad I could share that.
Write it down in your book.
I will. All right, folks. Have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern. Until then, be healthy.